This is Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. Beautiful, isn't it? This location is absolutely stunning, breathtaking, and spectacular. It is among the best locations for any FNAF game in terms of theming, visuals, and its sheer scale. Nothing is ever perfect though. As amazing as this mega mall may seem, it does, of course, have issues. Some of these are small and negligible. For example, this corner of the lobby that just feels a little bit too empty. It works, sure, but it could have been done better. Some of these design problems, however, are more glaring issues that you yourself might have noticed during moments of your time within the game. Take this hallway, for example, the one that leads you to Chica's Bakery. It's so empty and just feels out of place in a location that is otherwise fairly fleshed out and themed amazingly well. These places are the point of today's video. Well, fixing them is the point of today's video. Today, I will be going through a few of the worst offenders, I'm talking directly to you, Mazer Size, and giving these areas of the Pizzaplex a much needed makeover. I made a video earlier this month where I explored them all and pointed out a bunch of the locations that we will be talking about today. That video is not necessary to understand today's video, but I would still recommend checking it out after this one for more obscure locations that I skipped for this video. I will also have a special guest on later, someone who has been thinking about this specific topic for much longer than me, and having him give some of his ideas for the redesigns. He's called himself the King of the Pizzaplex, so stay tuned for that. Before we start, if you have an idea you'd like to work with me on for a future video, email me at this email or add me on Discord with this username. I'm always down to collab, so feel free to shoot me your ideas. Remember to like the video as it helps me out a ton, and be sure to subscribe for more Five Nights at Freddy's content. With everything out of the way, let's begin my remodel of Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. Let's start off with a big change, but one that feels like a pretty obvious improvement. This, as you probably know, is the long hallway that connects the atrium to Chica's Bakery. That's what you normally know about this path anyways, but did you know that there's another reason that this whole thing was added? That's right, this part of the Pizzaplex was originally meant to connect to the Superstar Daycare, but like a lot of things, the connection was cut. My first change here is simply to add this back. There's a couple of places I think you could connect it to. Either one would be fine. The first is this corner between the party rooms, giving guests pretty easy access to any part of the daycare. The second one is actually the one I like better, and it's here near the entrance to the Fazbear Theater. I like this one more simply because of its closeness to the theater. Either one of these options would work though. Moving on to the real overhaul of this area though, I have big plans for this currently empty space. Here's the vision. This whole area could be transformed into a food court type area, where there are themed restaurants for each character with unique decor and theming, much like Chica's Bakery is already. For example, Freddy's area could be themed around space, the building itself shaped like a spaceship. The area around it could have stars surrounding it, perhaps planets hanging from the ceiling. That's just one example. Another could be Roxy's, obviously racetrack themed. It could feature seats that look like the go-karts, Midwestern US style theming, all that classic Roxy iconography. Monty's would be swamp adjacent, obviously, taking a book out of Gator Golf. I'm thinking like Rainforest Cafe vibes, but more Monty themed, I guess. Maybe some water and boats to really seal the deal. That would just be one aspect of this redesign, and you could definitely go with different themes if you wanted to, but the idea is the main thing. Now, something you're probably already thinking is why have this when each area actually already has a food place themed after each character? Well, let's take a look at the Fazer Blast one. It's not very exciting, is it? Same with Monty's Gator Grub. There are small locations that don't do these characters proper justice. Sure, they're already in an area themed around the characters, but they kind of just feel like background pieces. Roxy doesn't even really have a food place designed and themed after her. This change would fix all that. The other possible problem here would be the fact that there's already a food court, but my answer to that is simple. The food court has a bunch of generic food places, but the ones in my redesign are themed specifically to each character, each being more of an experience rather than just a simple place to eat. I would also add gift shops themed for each character to really sell the experience. These could be much smaller, maybe just like little stands, and they can fill up the left side of the hallway. Again, Freddy's could be shaped like a spaceship, Monty's could be like a big gator head, Chica's a big Mr. Cupcake, and Roxy's a go-kart helmet or something similar. This would fully transform this blank, bland, and honestly out-of-place hallway into a true experience for kids and grown-ups alike. I mean, I would absolutely love to go here, as would any Freddy's fan if this was real. Let me know in the comments if you would eat at Freddy's Space Pizzeria if it was a real thing. That's just one area of the Pizzaplex, but there's many other things I want to do to improve other parts of the building. Another food-related place in the Pizzaplex is none other than Mazercise. And boy, do I absolutely hate this place. I don't know who in the world at Steelwool Studios came up with this terrible idea of a location or how Scott approved it, but it's gotta go. That's right, Mazercise isn't just getting some changes, it's getting completely removed. This area will instead be dedicated to the mediocre melodies. L Chips is right there, so why not bring the rest of the band back? Okay, I know L Chips is not a mediocre melody animatronic, but you get the idea. I'd imagine it would be kind of like a throwback area where they could sell the plushies of the older characters instead of having them all over in every other attraction at the Pizzaplex. In universe, most of the customers at Fazbear Entertainment only know about the games and believe that nothing bad actually happened in this company's past. I fully know that a place like this in the building would see lots of foot traffic from the guests. I mean, Help Wanted must have sold millions and millions of copies in universe for Fazbear to have accumulated the funds to build the massive Pizzaplex. People would love to see some of the characters from the old games in the mall. If you don't like that idea, then maybe something more Fall Fest themed would be better. I was almost thinking about putting the circus line of animatronics here. If you don't know what those are, you, my friend, are not deep enough into FNAF. Basically, something merch that appears to have been released kind of early and was never addressed again. You know, for not appearing anywhere besides the merch, I actually really enjoy some of these designs. I mean, look at this guy. Isn't he just a very cute Foxy design? Anyways, I'm off topic at this point. Replace Mazercise with literally anything else and the Pizzaplex becomes 10, no 100, nope, actually 1000 times better. Also, for those of you who are thinking, but what about Chica? She won't have an attraction dedicated to her anymore. To that, I say, honestly, I don't care. She's my least favorite character anyways. Like, if the Pizzaplex was real, I would be actively avoiding her. By the way, if you like Chica, you do you. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. She's just both the most generic and annoying character to me. Anyways, moving on to a different area now. Let's finally talk about something not food related. All that talk is getting me hungry for some Fazbear pizza. Still near Mazercise is this very odd and out of place corner. I talked about this in my previous video, and I still can't figure out a real reason for its existence. It doesn't even match on the other side. It's so strange and is just complete nonsense. But what if it wasn't? What if, and hear me out on this one, what if we connected the two sides? Okay, I know they're already connected, but you know what I mean. Connect them across the top of the main stage. I mean, I think this makes perfect sense. I was thinking about a couple of different ideas for what to fill this new space with, and I think I've got it. This would be an awesome spot to watch the show from. Now, it's not the best view of the animatronics, like you're looking directly down on them instead of directly at them, but it would 100% be an experience. I'm thinking a few reserved seating areas for parties or whatever else, above some kind of glass floor for an easy view of the characters and the stage. Maybe this could be a more adult-oriented area instead, with like a bar or something. It would make sense as a little oasis of sorts away from all the chaos that's happening down below. Now, this could also just be a row of shops or food stands or whatever, but that feels far too generic for a video where I'm trying to come up with some unique ideas for the place. Next up, the Superstarcade. I'm just now realizing that most of the places I chose to remake for this video are actually very close to each other in the Pizzaplex, but oh well, I didn't make the building, I'm just reviewing it. Anyways, the Superstarcade, otherwise known as the East Arcade, how would you even know this, by the way? In game, you don't have a compass. Anyways, it's one of the many, and I mean many, arcades located in the Pizzaplex. I mean, seriously, do we need this many? Not to mention the fact that this arcade is literally directly across from another massive arcade on the same exact floor. What I'm basically saying is there's no need for this arcade, so let's gut it and give it a complete remodel. Now, back to the whole help wanted thing, I fully believe that the success of the Pizzaplex relies on that in-universe VR game. What did this game contain? Scares. Lots of scares. So, why can't the Pizzaplex have its very own horror attraction? I'm imagining this whole arcade being transformed into a fully themed out, spooky walkthrough attraction. It would start FNAF 1 themed and work its way through each game. I think that would be so cool. And with this seemingly endless budget of Fazer Entertainment, they could do an unbelievable amount with an idea like this. Heck, they could feature actual animatronics that are specifically made to be scary and like walk around and like scare actors at like Halloween Horror Nights and stuff like that. There could even be interactable sections. For example, a FNAF 1 office section where the guests have to push buttons and close the doors. Am I crazy? Like, would that not be sick? I think people would eat this up and leave no crumbs. Just like, actually, never mind. Actually, speaking of the Bite of 87, another thing with the horror attraction is that Fazbear Entertainment absolutely loves making fun of its past. It is how they became so successful in Security Breach, and something like what I mentioned would play into this perfectly. All I'm saying is, lore-wise, this would be a fairly accurate thing to include. What do you think though? You all watching this video are basically the public reacting to Fazbear Entertainment announcing these changes, so it will be fun to read your comments. Oh yeah, with making the West Arcade the main one, I would also connect the West Arcade with the prize counter while removing the connection from the new scary area. Or I guess you could leave it, but I'd probably remove it. A smaller change that I'd like to see is to the winner's room in Fazer Blast. I feel like this would be much better suited as some kind of adult lounge for parents while their kids are playing Fazer Blast down below. I mean, something simple, maybe a little food serving place with some drinks or whatever. This room can absolutely be expanded to accommodate more people. Another really cool idea I just came up with while reading this script out is like a hanging restaurant thing. Like, so listen, it would be like a planet hanging from the ceiling above, but like you could go inside the planet and it would be like a restaurant inside of it. Maybe even like balcony seats on like the ring of the planet or something. Not a huge space, maybe not a whole dining area. Perhaps just enough room to host a decently sized party would probably be more reasonable. Whatever the case though, I think that would be awesome. Another small change brings us back to the atrium. These trees that I mentioned in my last video are just a waste of space. The obvious thing for me is to make these more seating areas, most likely for parties to rent out. Being this close to the stage, Fazbear Entertainment could charge a pretty penny for these premium seats. Plus, I think some little kids would really enjoy having their birthday parties this close to the main stage. I know that there's the two sets on the side of the stage already, but I would also add these. I also think that adding statues of the characters with some decorations around them could also be an interesting concept. Like one of Monty with a golf club, like golfing with vines coming off of it or something like that. Just anything to add some variety here. Maybe like Freddy kind of floating through space would be kind of a cool one. With that, I'm done with all of my ideas for redesigning the Pizzaplex, but this video isn't over yet. I actually have a special guest on, Ice Demon, and he's got some pretty good ideas himself. So, take it away.
Hey, I'm Ice Demon. I've had ideas to revamp the Pizzaplex for almost a year now, and I'd like to share some of my ideas to you all. First, I want to give a quick change to the Glamrocks. I'd like to give Glamrock Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica tongues. For some reason, Montgomery and Roxanne both have tongues, while the main three don't. This makes them feel a bit out of place, so I think giving them tongues would help maintain consistency across the characters. Now on to the big changes. The first major change I'd introduce is the complete removal of Mazer Size. Let's be honest, I have yet to find anyone that actually likes Mazer Size. It probably also smells awful in there. In its place, I'd add a mega gym divided into 3 themed areas, each offering a unique experience. The first section focuses on weightlifting and strength training. It could be endorsed by Monty, who could appear periodically to train guests or spot them during workouts, adding a fun and motivational twist to the environment. The second section would be dedicated to yoga, with Chica hosting guided yoga sessions every 2 hours. To complement this, Chica would also be rebranded as a fitness and nutrition advocate instead of just fitness and eating. Near the gym entrance, there'd be a fruit-infused water stand, reinforcing her connection to healthy habits and offering refreshing options for the guests post-workout. For the younger crowd, the third section would be an energetic, obstacle-filled jungle gym. It'd be managed by Glamrock Mangle, inspired by her appearance in Tales of the Pizzaplex, adding a graceful and engaging presence to the kids' fitness area. The second major change I'd make is reducing the number of arcades in the Pizzaplex. Surprisingly, there's 5 separate arcades located across the entire location, with 3 located on the 3rd floor alone, which feels excessive and redundant. The first step would be to remove Superstarcade and then redistributing any exclusive or unique games it had to Fazcade to increase its variety and keep the arcade experience centralized. Next, I'd relocate Salads and Sides from the food court to the now vacant Superstarcade space. It'd be rebranded as Bonnie's Rabbit Den and completely revamped into a Fazbear themed Sweet Tomatoes. If you're unfamiliar, Sweet Tomatoes is an all-you-can-eat salad, soup, and pastry bar that's been wildly popular for its fresh and wholesome offerings. Transforming Salads and Sides into a family-themed buffet would make it a major dining attraction on its own, drawing in guests not just for the entertainment, but for the food as well. The third major change I'd make is revamping Kids Cove into something more engaging, especially for adults. Right now, there isn't much for adults to do besides sit at party tables or occasionally join their kids in attractions. Let's change that. Kids Cove will be transformed into a pirate island hideout, reimagined as a hangout spot specifically designed for adults in mind. The centerpiece of this revamp would be a themed bar called Davy Jones' Locker, offering drinks in a moody, nautical atmosphere. To bring the Fazbear flair, the bar will feature a floor-mounted, refurbished Captain Foxy animatronic, who interacts with guests, telling sea tales, cracking pirate jokes, and adding a layer of immersive entertainment. The last major change isn't quite as large as the others, but I still think it'd be a fantastic addition. Bonnie Bowl currently houses one of the 3 arcades as I mentioned earlier, and removing it would leave behind some unused space. To make the most of that area, I'd expand the bowling experience by adding an automated bowling ball factory, where guests can order their own custom-designed bowling balls. Making a bowling ball takes about 30 to 45 minutes, so that'd make it the perfect activity to start during a party or gathering. Guests could personalize their bowling balls with colors, patterns, or even Fazbear-themed decals, giving them a unique souvenir and something fun to use during their visit. Now that we've gotten the big changes out of the way, I'd like to move on to small additions and tweaks that I had in mind as well. First, I'd add 2 more party rooms to Roxy Raceway. There's 7 garages, one of which is over by the bumper cars and only 2 are actual party rooms. Adding 2 more would benefit the raceway significantly. The second small change would be to put a Temple of the Fox sushi stand in place of where Salads and Sides was in the food court. The third and fourth changes would be to remove the mini arcade in Fazer Blast and to have movies playing frequently in the daycare theater, not limited just to Fazbear themed movies. And now for the actual additions. These can be added on the empty spaces on the 2nd floor, either at the back of the atrium or in the hallway to Chica's Bakery. First, I want to add a shoe store themed around Foxy. Adding Fazbear-themed Crocs would also be a really good idea in my opinion, because they'd be able to sell charms for the Crocs separately. The second addition I'd add is a Freddy-themed Build-A-Bear workshop, which allows kids to get plushies of their favorite characters, both old and new. The third addition will be a figure builder, almost like a build-your-own lightsaber attraction, but with FNAF action figures, with the Glamrock Mangle hosting the store. I think adding Mangle adds a bit of cruel irony given the take apart put back together attraction in the past. Next I want to add a balloon store hosted by a brand new Balloon Boy animatronic and a helium tank designed to look like JJ to fill balloons. Different kinds of balloon designs, including character heads and Fazer balloon animals, would also be sold here. This idea was inspired by the balloons mounted to the billboard in Lucky Star's gift shop by the daycare. Lastly, I want to add a soda emporium. It's always fun to try out the weird soda flavors, and Fazbear Entertainment could brand each flavor to a different character to fill the shelves of this Fizzy Faz soda emporium. Well, that's about all the changes I can fit into this section. I'll give the spotlight back to FNAF Merch Plus now. Make sure to subscribe to him, he's awesome.
You know, that last sentence he said is actually a really good idea. You should also go sub to him for animations and stuff. With that, I think I'm satisfied with this video. I could absolutely make a part 2 to this if need be. If enough people wanted it. I have enough ideas to do a part 2 for this. But for now, I think I'm done with the whole redesigning FNAF locations thing. It's been this little chapter of the channel where I've been remaking the FNAF maps has been pretty awesome and really fun to do for you guys. If you like the video, be sure to like it as it helps me out a ton. Also consider subscribing for more FNAF content. If you do want to see more remakes or just exploring more locations within the series, let me know and I will make that happen if enough people want it. June, though, is Mimic month for the channel, so I will be making a before and after theory for Secret of the Mimic, as well as playing it when it releases, and maybe a bonus video in there, depending on how much I want to procrastinate this month. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, I will see you next time. Goodbye, superstars.